Good morning. I want to address a couple of comments that I've gotten lately, and it's about wholesalers. Uh, can you retail cars on eBay? And I'm about to introduce to you a whole new world to your business that you may not have understood, but it's very important that you pay attention to what I'm about to say about the wholesale and the retail market and selling on eBay. Now, there's two items that we get caught up in when we open a car in a state. When you open a car lot in a state, for instance, you get caught up in that state's regulations, and you should get caught up in that state's regulations. But that applies to that state. So let me give you an example. We're in the state of Tennessee, so we're regulated by the state of Tennessee. But we also have now, due to the internet and a lot of things, it's opened up the world of interstate commerce. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that when you're out there, you're in, for example, our state of Tennessee, we can put a car on eBay and we can sell that car on eBay. We can retail it, or what some of you may call retail or wholesale or whatever. The car is going on eBay. Now, let's say that customer is in California that buys that car. That customer is exempt, and we are exempt from having to work within the Tennessee state law's confines, because that car has now become following under the interstate commerce laws. So you can legally sell that car in California on eBay as a wholesaler, retailer, individual, or anything whatsoever, and you're not really breaking the law of the state that you reside in. Now, this gets complicated, but it stands to reason. It makes sense, and I'm going to give you some examples of how I know this and how I practice this. On the back of the title, when you go to transfer your title work, it never asks you if you're a wholesaler or a retailer or anything at all when it comes to transferring your paperwork. You'll notice that you use your dealer number issued to you by your state. And that dealer number does not reflect whether you're a wholesale dealer or whether you're a retail dealer. It's just a dealer number. So when you transfer that title and you send that title and that car out of state, the processing authority there that gets that title and is responsible for collecting that state's sales tax does not care whether you're a wholesaler. They do not care whether you're a wholesaler, retailer. If you have a dealer number which does not identify whether you're strictly wholesale or retail, that dealer number does not identify that either way. So all they're doing is taking that paperwork, looking at your dealer number. Are you authorized to transfer that title, and were you exempt from paying sales tax on it? Yes, you were, and yes, you are. So they transfer that paper. So this is how that we get away with retailing cars on eBay. It's never identified whether it's a retail or a wholesale transaction. That state, when they get that paperwork, for instance, if that car is being processed out in California, that state does not care, nor does the state that you reside in care. And I got this straight from a state inspector, okay? I had a state inspector. I went through an audit a few years ago, and the state inspector came to me and wanted to see our paperwork that we had processed on the cars that we sold in the state. And I said, okay, do you mean cars that we sold out of state? No, we don't care about the cars that you sold out of state. What you sent out of state, we don't monitor. We don't verify anything about it. We're only concerned with your in-state transactions. And so that was my first clue. Okay, well, I'm never going to be monitored on my out-of-state transactions. And as far as I know, based on years and years of selling on eBay, selling cars on eBay, not one time have I ever been confronted whether that car was wholesale or retail transaction. I've never had a minute's worth of trouble selling my cars on eBay when I do that, send them out of state. Now, that was my first clue, that the inspector absolutely did not even care to see my paperwork of my out-of-state transactions. And then the next clue was I had a dealer from a foreign state that I do business in contact me about one of the other states that I do business in. And I wasn't under an audit or anything, but he had some questions that he wanted to ask me about another dealership in that state, or another dealer agent in that state. So he contacted me up, and he said, I'd like to meet with you and discuss with you about this agent in our state. And quite frankly, I said, well, you don't have any jurisdiction over me in this state. I do business in this state, and I want to be vague in that because I don't care to discuss my infrastructure a lot. But when the state inspector from that foreign state contacted me on my local state's number, I was not cooperative. I wasn't rude, but I said, look, you have no authority. You're contacting my dealership in this state from another state, and you have no authority here. And he said, that is true. I have no authority, can't force you to meet with me. I would appreciate if you meet with me because I'm not after you in particular. I'm after this other agent in this state, and it's been brought to my attention you have some knowledge on that a person in this state. Well, I keep my states separate. I don't really, and this is just my infrastructure. If I have an affair with one of my out-of-state dealerships or one of my foreign state dealerships, I keep it limited to that dealership. I don't let it interfere with another dealership that I might be operating somewhere. So I'm very particular about when an agent calls me up, and it's rare that you get contacted by these people, but when an agent does contact me up, I literally ask the question, okay, which dealership are we referring to, and that dealership, that state, and immediately I always fall back on, well, that state law has nothing to do with this state law. So I guess, I know it may sound complicated because sometimes it even complicates me, but the comment was made, can a wholesaler retail cars on eBay? And yes, eBay is always a wholesale transaction because any interstate commerce is considered wholesale, because that's one thing that, as you well know, it's somewhat being regulated now, that some sellers on eBay have to collect sales tax for that state. But that's only if they're selling to someone in that state. They still do not have to collect sales tax when they're selling outside of that state. Same way applies with an automobile. You're not collecting sales tax, so therefore it's considered a wholesale transaction. So yes, you can list your cars on eBay. You can transfer your titles as any other person or dealership selling, transferring their titles. It does not matter whether you're a wholesaler or a retailer. All that will be asked for on the back of your title or your paperwork will be your dealer number, which does not identify you as being a wholesale dealer or a retail dealer. So I hope that answers your question. I know it's a little complicated. If you have any more comments, send them, of course. Please like, subscribe, share this channel. In closing, I do want to say one thing. I have a lot of you, and I'm so flattered that want to talk to me personally and consult them. And I really have a car lot here. My focus is on my son's car lot, and I really don't have the time to offer any consulting, whether it be free consulting, whether it be offers to payment in consulting. Right now, it's just not. It's not a priority for me. I don't charge for consulting. I do this free of charge. I hope it gives you information on some of the things that you might have. But no, I simply cannot answer the telephone. It never fails that there's 10 or 12 people a week that want to contact me by telephone, get more information, get more specific questions asked, and I simply don't have the time for that. But once again, closing, please like and share this channel if you find it of any value to you.